Is coffee going to be scarce? Can we anticipate a coffee shortage? South American coffee inventories are dropping so rapidly that extremely low reserves are projected. Due to supply difficulties in Brazil, the largest coffee grower in the world, coffee prices are rising and will continue to rise globally. As Brazilian coffee exports hold on to their supplies and drive up prices, the situation is expected to worsen in the coming weeks. Coffee prices have been erratic in recent months. The rest of the producing world might not have enough stock to keep up with the escalating demand in the interim. An anticipated shortage of coffee is brought on by both environmental and economic concerns. Do you want to learn more about the possibility of a coffee shortage? Keep watching this video and be sure to like, comment and subscribe when you're done. Now let's get into it. Climate change and coffee supply. From an environmental standpoint, the coffee crisis is being caused by weather-related problems and a lower supply, particularly from the major Arabica coffee growers such as Brazil, Colombia and Honduras. Brazilian coffee market dynamics are being impacted by a wave of persistent weather conditions as the country experiences prolonged dry spells. In contrast, Colombia's coffee harvests are being harmed by the recent heavy rain. The difficulties faced by the coffee business are also caused by the accelerating effects of climate change. The climate catastrophe is still raging, and bad weather threatens to put growing conditions even more in peril. Negative weather may also reduce harvests in countries that produce coffee, such as Nicaragua, Guatemala, and Honduras. However, South American growers are not the only ones responsible for the current coffee deficit. Robusta coffee, which makes up 97% of Vietnam's total output and is the country's second largest exporter after Brazil, is also seeing a reduction in stockpiles. Economic factors. A coffee species with origins in Central and Western Sub-Saharan Africa has been making a comeback: Robusta beans. As people explore for alternatives to lessen the effects of growing inflation, cheap Robusta beans, which are less expensive than Arabica beans, are in high demand. Robusta is utilized in espresso blends or as an instant coffee ingredient by companies like Nestlé South America. Economically, concerns about a recession, conflict, and the European energy crisis are causing uncertainty regarding global demand. Due to all these market factors, coffee prices have increased globally. The price increases will be absorbed by coffee behemoths like Starbucks, Lavazza, and Costa, who will then pass them on to the consumer. In the meanwhile, these companies frequently have sustainability programs that collaborate with farmers on optimal agricultural techniques for growing coffee. Supply chain issues. Coffee prices have also been impacted by the lack of freight needed to ship coffee throughout the world as a result of commodities getting stuck in transit due to traffic at ports and other delivery issues. The average global cost of shipping a 40-foot container has climbed dramatically and is currently close to $10,000, approximately 3 times as much as it was at the beginning of 2021 and 10 times as much as it was before the pandemic. Brazil's role in the coffee shortage. Brazil has seen some of the worst frosts and droughts in recent memory, and harvesting output is predicted to get worse. According to reports, Brazil collected the fewest Arabica beans since 2009 in 2021, a reduction of over 40% compared to 2020. Given that the United States is the world's largest coffee consumer, the crop reduction was equal to 2/3 of the country's annual coffee consumption. Brazil is still getting over the unusual frosts it had in July of last year, and this year's droughts could result in lower coffee production than in 2017. Brazil is not the only nation experiencing severe shortages, though. There are several shortages throughout Asia, Africa, and South America as well. Since Robusta beans are less expensive than Arabica beans, and Arabica bean supply is declining, governments have been forced to buy more Robusta beans. This will result in higher coffee prices for customers and maybe lower quality coffee. But as a result of exposure to extreme weather conditions, even Robusta beans have increased in price. The coffee market. All of this is taking place in the midst of a constant demand growth of between 1.5% and 2% annually. The price of coffee stock on the futures market has risen 11% as a result. The market for coffee beans worldwide was valued at $28.9 billion in 2021 and is anticipated to expand by 6.3% annually to reach a market value of $42.26 billion by 2027. However, since environmental variables continue to pose a serious threat to the whole coffee-growing sector, industry executives appear to be powerless to take action against bad weather. Will the coffee shortage get worse? Coffee is already in short supply, and more shortages are anticipated. Droughts, frosts, and an increase in demand for coffee goods since the COVID-19 pandemic started can all be attributed to the scarcity. Climate change is anticipated to make the scarcity worse for those who harvest coffee beans, since it has already been a persistent issue for more than a year. The two most popular varieties of coffee beans are Arabica and Robusta, with Arabica being more popular with customers due to its superior flavor and general quality. According to GEP, Arabica beans account for 75% of the world's coffee production. Brazil and Colombia are the two main producers of Arabica beans, with Brazil accounting for 40% of global production. Coffee is a beverage that most people depend on every day, and some individuals can't begin their days without it. It's difficult to locate a café or other form of establishment that doesn't sell some type of coffee product, because the beverage has long been a staple in people's diets around the world. However, due to coffee shortages, companies and consumers may experience increased coffee prices. How would you react if you could no longer get a cup of coffee or an iced latte? Let us know in the comments down below, and be sure to leave any future video suggestions there as well. We'll catch you in the next one.